So tonight we're at Take Back the Night, which is the Center for Hope and Healing's event to spread awareness about sexual violence and sexual assault. So we're all going to be speaking, rallying, and really taking a stance for this cause. I'm with Alternative House, so we work really closely with Center for Hope and Healing, working with domestic violence as well as sexual assault. So this is a really important cause for all of the survivors that work with us, and then all of the staff who have also had these experiences as well.
This is our 18th annual, and we do this every year. It's for survivors to be heard, seen, and believed. We are supporting survivors of sexual violence in hopes of ending sexual violence altogether and the oppression that goes along with sexual violence.
Today I'm going to be speaking about my story about sexual violence and basically speaking up about it and showing how it's okay to talk about these things. Obviously I feel a little nervous, as you could tell, and I also feel very excited speaking to a public crowd like this and people who also experience something what I've experienced. It gives me a sense of comfort in knowing that I'm not alone.
So we're doing a march right now from JFK down to Middlesex Community College, where we'll have like refreshments and we'll have more speakers giving like speeches down there.
It says if it's not an enthusiastic yes, it's a no. Ask for consent.
So consent is where two or more people have the permission to feel comfortable with what you're doing.
Has to be given enthusiastically, it has to be given freely, without coercement. It's important, even if you're in a relationship or it's someone you know, that you always ask for consent when you're asking someone to do something, touching someone's body. It's really important.
I feel like people should understand that even if you're in a relationship, especially, you still have the right to say no, and there still is a sense of rape or force. And even though if you're married, living together, you still have that autonomy to say no.
People should learn consent at an early age, definitely, because when I was younger, I never really been taught about it until I experienced a sexual violence, and that's when I started to have to learn about stuff like that.
I think we're definitely at a better spot in society where people are recognizing that the whole boys will be boys, like overriding all of that stigma, but there's still definitely some more work to do, and that's why we're here tonight.
For decades, we've been taught to fear the world around us. We've been taught as little girls how not to get raped, right? So as of tonight and going forward, we want to share tips on how not to rape. Right? How to treat people with equity, how to treat people with respect, right? And we no longer want victims to be blamed for the crimes committed against them, right? Not tonight. Tonight we take back our community. Tonight we take back our voices. Tonight we will take to the streets. We will use our voices. We will have posters. We will have chants. Who knows a good Take Back the Night chant? Let's start with one right now. No means no. No means no. Yeah. No means no. Whatever we wear, wherever we go. Right. No means no. Whatever we wear, wherever we go. So you're going to get sheets with chants. You're going to get posters. People are going to be in front of you and behind you. So when we walk from here to Middlesex, we want Middlesex to hear us the minute we leave this street. How about that, right? Yes, we want folks to hear us. Tonight we say to survivors, if you're here, you don't need to disclose. You don't need to tell your story. But we want you to know this is your night. We see you, we hear you, and tonight we say Lowell takes back for you. It's my honor to welcome our speakers, to just greet you this evening. I'm honored to first introduce our board, chair and co-chairs, Amber Kovac and Kathy Mercado.
Well, it's always hard to follow up after Isa. My name's Kathy Mercado. I'm the co-chair of CHH. I was just at another event that I was speaking in regards to inclusivity, and they asked me a question: which organizations in the city of Lowell do you feel are inclusive and you feel like you belong? And I said, hands off, not just because I'm the co-chair, but CHH. I won't mention the other two because it's not their time right now. This is Take Back the Night. So first of all, I just want to say that I am a survivor. There's no shame about saying that you're a survivor. You should all feel welcome to say your truth. It's important to normalize that, you know, saying that you are a survivor of sexual abuse or sexual violence or whatever you went through in your life, no matter if you're what gender you are, what you go by, what your pronouns are. It's important. So with that being said, because it's not that warm out today, we need to be in the sun, so I can go on and on and on. I just want to thank everyone for being here tonight. You know, I really want to thank and appreciate the fact that our DA Ryans is here, and I don't want to butcher your name. Diana is here. No, I know you're Diana, but the last name I don't want to make, you know. But this is our state auditor, and she took the time to come out here. So I appreciate that. I love hearing you speak at the women's breakfast. My God, tears were coming down. Outstanding. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. You got my vote. So with that being said, I'm going to pass it over to my amazing co-chair, Amber, and she just changed her name, and I'm also not going to butcher her name. I'm so sorry. You know, I speak 2 languages, and the S's and H's and the K's will come out, right? However, Amber's amazing. Thank you all for joining us. Let's support our survivors, and let's continue this work with the leadership of the CHH team. I appreciate you all, and Issa as well. Thank you.
Everybody. I was just talking to somebody and telling them that I'm dating myself a little bit. Back when we used to do these rallies, when I was in college, back in the 90s, there was always talk about what women can do to prevent ourselves from getting assaulted, to prevent sexual violence perpetrated against us. And men were not part of the conversation. People were not part of the conversation. It's what we can do to protect ourselves. So I just have to say how amazing it is to be in front of a group of people who are saying, what can all of us do to prevent sexual violence? Because it is all of our job. It is all of our job to support survivors, whether those survivors are men, women, members of the trans community, non-binary. We support everybody. So as we're walking tonight and listening to everybody speak, whether you choose to share, whether you choose not to share, whether you're here to support survivors or you are a survivor, just know you are heard, you are seen, you are believed, and you are loved. Let's have a wonderful
Good evening. I'm Marion Ryan, the district attorney, and I am really honored to be here with you tonight. As many of you know, we have done this Take Back the Night when it's been snowing out here, when it's been raining out here, so I was pretty happy to come for that 5 minutes of sun. You know, I think that tonight is about 3 things. If you were to clarify why do we do this, the first is because since people began, it's been important for them to come together and to hear each other's stories. No matter where in the world you go, people gather around coffee, around food, together on the street, somewhere, and they share their stories. And why do they do that? I suggest to you they do it for 2 reasons. Because the people who can tell of an experience are hope for people who may not yet be ready to talk about that. They show that there is a way forward. They show that you can go through something and come out on the other side. And the second reason you do it is because it is in raising your voice that we make change. It is in going through the streets of Lowell tonight and calling attention to this issue that we not only help survivors to know there are people who they can talk to, but we grow allies so that we don't have to solve this problem ourselves. The second reason we're here is because it's great to share the stories. But when it comes to sexual assault, I don't know about you, but what I really want is action, right? I want to get to justice around something that has happened. And that's the second piece of what we do tonight. We think about what can we do moving forward. I'll give you two examples. One is, you may remember, you may have seen in the press about 3 years ago, Massachusetts is technologically smart as we are, was number 50. Number 50 in the states of the United States. Remember, there's only 50, and we were 50. Not a good place in getting sexual assault evidence kits processed. All right? So you could do everything you were supposed to do. You could go to the hospital, you could have the exam, we collected the evidence, and it took us years to get those examined. Right? Right, and about 3 years ago, there was a real movement, and I was proud as the only woman serving as a district attorney then to join in that movement. We could do better. This is Massachusetts. We invented half of the equipment they used to test those kids. We could do better. I am proud to tell you that as of yesterday, Massachusetts is number one. Number one in the amount of time it takes to get that kit processed. That is action. That is telling the story of a problem and getting to action. And the second reason that's important is, and some of you may have seen the work we've been doing around this, is one of the ways that we can now solve these cases, and Isa was with me a few weeks ago when we were able to tell a survivor that after 10 years, we had used forensic genealogy to identify and arrest the attack that she had endured at a train station. 10 years later. I believe in science. I believe in using the newest technology. You will see tomorrow, Isa's going to be with me again tomorrow. We'll be making good trouble somewhere. And we're going to roll out some new technological advances. I am incredibly fortunate as the DA here to have law enforcement like the chiefs who are here, who partner with us, who spend the money and get those things done. And the third and last reason why this is so important is what we need to do is send a message. And that message is, I am very firm in my resolve that if you come into Middlesex County and you commit a sexual assault, we are never giving up on that case. We are never giving up on looking for you. And we will get to a resolution and a just result in that case. It's just as important as sharing our own stories as we put that message out. You're not going to come here and do it and leave and think that we aren't going to be using every tool that we have available to find you and to get to a just result. So please, as you're walking through the streets tonight and you're making people think about this issue, think about those three issues. Telling the story, getting action, and sending that message. I'm incredibly proud to be here with you tonight. Thank you for having me. And it's my pleasure. Remember, women get things done. It's my pleasure to introduce the new auditor from Massachusetts, Diana DeZoglio.
As a childhood survivor of domestic violence and sexual abuse myself, I do want to speak on behalf of survivors everywhere and say thank you, not just to DA Ryan, but to every single advocate, every single person, every single volunteer, everyone, Isa, your whole team, everybody that showed up today. Thank you to the Center for Hope and Healing. We appreciate all the work that your organization does. But to all of you who could be doing literally anything else on this evening tonight, where the sun finally came out, it seems to be disappearing now behind all the buildings. You could be doing anything else, but you chose to come out tonight. You chose to take a stand. You chose to take a walk. You chose to make your voices be heard. And it is important that we see action, that we see our elected officials taking action. It's one thing to give thoughts and prayers to people who are suffering with their circumstances, alone, isolated, disenfranchised from people who can help them and don't know where to turn. It's another thing to take action and to make sure that that action is boldly taken. And that's exactly what we in the State Auditor's Office have been doing in recent months. A lot of people might think, you know, you're an auditor in the state of Massachusetts. What does the auditor have to do with things like sexual harassment, sexual assault, or violence? We actually can make a difference on this front. We're actually conducting an audit right now of the use of non-disclosure agreements. Has anybody heard about non-disclosure agreements before? So non-disclosure agreements came up really big time during the Me Too movement, where women were coming forward, mostly women, and were talking about how they were sexually assaulted or sexually harassed in some way, and the way that they were prevented from speaking out to warn other people about what was going on and to hold perpetrators of violent acts accountable. The way they were prevented from talking about those things was due to the non-disclosure agreement, where they had signed away their right to speak in order to be able to move forward from a bad situation in a workplace or another situation. And they had signed away their right to talk about what had happened to them. When I was a younger woman in my 20s, many years ago, I was actually required in our own state here in Massachusetts, at our own state house, just to collect a standard severance package on my dismissal from a job after being sexually harassed. I was required to sign away my right to speak about what had happened at our own state house. And the dollars that paid for that non-disclosure agreement that prevented me from talking about literally anything I'd seen, witnessed, or experienced behind the closed doors of Beacon Hill regarding that sexual harassment, the dollars that were used to purchase that silence, so to speak, was your tax dollars. It was your tax dollars. When you go to work and you see the tax dollars coming out of your paycheck that go into the state of Massachusetts, that was funded using your tax dollars. That type of thing is still able to happen today across state agencies. We think about all the state agencies that exist. We think about DCF. We think about the MBTA. We think about, you know, our different governmental agencies. We think about our universities, right? We think about our healthcare system. We think about all these different places in state government. These non-disclosure agreements are able to be used currently to cover up all manners of harassment, abuse, discrimination, potential assault, so on and so forth. The list goes on and on. It is absolutely unacceptable. There is a reason why we say end the silence. End the silence. The reason why we say that is because without speaking out or being able to speak out, nobody should be forced to talk about what happened to them. But if you're not able to talk about what happened to you freely, you're not able to ensure that perpetrators are held accountable so they don't do it again. You're not able to help protect the future victimization of people around you that you love, that you care about. You're not able to see justice served. And this isn't just about our generation and those of us who have, you know, come forward as survivors or, you know, are working through that right now. This is about the next generation. This is about the next generation. I see little kids here today. I see little kids here today. This is about protecting our children. This is about protecting others. We have a lot of work to do in state government, but that's not going to happen unless we advocate for bold and meaningful change. We need to end the silence. We need to lift our voices. We need to end the stigma, and we need to continue to come out like this and stand in solidarity with each other and support one another. And like DA Ryan said, we need to share our stories, and we need to comfort one another, console one another, support one another, but then march out into these streets and let everybody know that we are not going to take it 1 second longer. So I am proud to be here today with you, Issa and team, and march from City Hall to my alma mater, Middlesex Community College, and to stand with you as we do take back the night and love on each other and support one another. Thank you so much, everybody.
How's everyone? Good. I'm London. Can y'all hear me okay? Yes. Perfect. My story is not a sad story. It's a real one. It's my story. I fought through a storm I thought wouldn't end. The past couple of years, I didn't allow my struggle to let me lose hope. Just because things were challenging didn't mean they were like this forever. Whether or not I see it, I can and will heal. Each day, I am healing. The small steps I took each day may not seem like much, but each day adds up, and before I knew it, I'll have covered more distance than I ever believed possible. As I look back to where I was a few years ago, I may not be fully healed, but I can definitely say I am certainly not where I once was. I struggled and backtracked and wanted to give up, but I continue to push forward. I've made it so far, and despite everything life has thrown at you, I survived. Instead of beating myself up for not being where I would like to be, I took some time today to celebrate where I am. Gave myself a lot of credit for the growth I achieved, acknowledged the strength it's taken to get to this place, and have faith that kept picking myself back up. No matter how many times I fall, I constantly say to myself, I will make it. Present day, as a survivor, I can't even begin to explain how blessed I am to be here with all of you. There were many times I was certain I would not live to see another sky full of stars in this lifetime. All of my scars come from the things I've experienced, the things I've overcome, and the things I would write down, that I would write when I felt I didn't have a voice. I love sharing other people's words that resonated within me and inspire me. Being here today and seeing all of the warriors has truly changed me for the better in helping me restore my faith in mankind. Slowly. Helped me restore, helped me heal. It has kept my mind busy so I don't keep replaying traumatic situations. It has proven to me that I'm still here for a reason, that I'm not alone, and that there are so many beautiful warriors in this world. Whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever path in life you are traveling, just know that you are strong. You are worthy, you are loved, you have purpose. Keep going and never lose hope, and never be ashamed of the story that has helped become the beautiful soul that you are. Wishing the best in life for everyone, always. Thank you.
My name is Liliana Yim, and I'm a student who attends Lowell High School and the senior class secretary of 2023 graduates. And today, my speech is about the importance of spreading awareness on sexual assault. Beginning with an everyday story, what is it really like to be a young woman in America? Now, I spent all my life in Lowell, raised on Walker Street near the ice cream shop down on Merrimack River. At 14 years old, I was sexually harassed by a group of old men. Whistling, telling me to come over to their house, and asking for every little detail about me while I was walking my dog. That day, I was wearing shorts, a baseball jersey, and a bunch of silly bands on my wrist. As a kid, I didn't fully understand what was going on, and I was never enlightened on sexual violence. As a result, I never told anyone nor my parents that day. As I got older, I realized how much danger I was put under and the myriad of possibilities that could have gone down that day. Which is why I want to share how important it is to spread awareness on sexual violence. A few things I believe that should be emphasized are the importance of 1, stigmas and stereotypes around SA and reporting. 2, the need of learning about SA and consent in school. And 3, understanding and helping SA survivors. Survivors face a number of stigmas when coping with the trauma of SA. The most common one lies in responsibility. For example, out of the many friends I have spoken to, many of them who experience SA heard responses like, "What were you wearing? Why didn't you just leave the situation? Why didn't you say no? And it's your fault." With the normality of victim blaming in society, survivors often fear reporting their assault, which is why I think it's very crucial to watch what you say to an SA survivor.
Yes, tell them.
The initial contact a survivor has with someone is the most important in their journey of continuing coping effectively with feelings of shame, guilt, and accountability. At 14 years old, I lacked the knowledge and dangers of SA or even the existence of it. That is until I started to get older and figure out things as I go. Which is why I believe learning about SA and consent at a young age is crucial. According to Planned Parenthood Action, only 39 states have sex education, mentioned consent covered in school. Through a Colorado high school survey, nearly 7% of teens report that they were physically forced to have sexual intercourse. With consent education, this is preventable. We need to teach young people to recognize sexually inappropriate and violent behaviors, while also promoting healthy and respectful relationships among young people that are in line with their own values. It's not always easy to know what to say when someone tells you that they have been SA'd, especially if they are a friend or a family member. For a survivor, disclosing to someone that they care about can be very difficult. So I encourage you to be supportive and non-judgmental as possible. This way, positive impacts can be made. For example, it allows other survivors to speak up, allows progression and recovery, and reduces stigma around the topic. We need to realize that there is no disgrace in being a survivor of sexual violence, when really the shame is on the aggressor. Although many people in this center were courageous enough to speak up about their story, I believe that there are many more who have their secrets. And all I want to say is, let us speak up. Let us fight the shame and talk about it. It could be a platform, community, your loved one, whoever or whatever you choose, but let us speak up. The truth is, the end to this problem begins with us. Thank you.
Center for Hope and Healing does really, really great work. If you go to their website, you can donate. April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month. So now is your time to give back, to support this work monetarily. If you can't support monetarily, you can share it to your social media and really get the word out there.
So down the line for CHH, we just opened our brand new building, which is a very welcoming space, both for the people that do the work and for the people that come and use our services. We have a program specifically designed to help children survivors of sexual violence, and a great support group for members of the LGBTQ+ community so that they can get the support and resources that they need.